Happy Thursday. Welcome in. This is the live recording of the Client by Client podcast. If you can smell what the rock is cooking, I'm sorry, I've just always wanted to say that. If you're here live or in the future, current clients, past clients, friends, family, drop me some emojis. If this is your first time here, drop me a number 1. Would love to say hi and hello and give you some love and a shout out here on the show. We're going to get started here in just about 30 seconds. But today on the podcast, an important episode 74 just went live, which is why social media is the only funnel you need to land clients. So if you're still fumbling with lead pages and ClickFunnels and ads and all of these other things, but you're not yet at 15K a month, I designed this episode with you in mind. So be sure to go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or pod.link/clients to download and listen to that in your favorite player. Today, we're talking about when to go full-time as an online coach. Let's hop in and let's talk about it. Hey, what's up? Jeremy here from whatupjeremy.com, back with another episode of Client by Client. Thank you so much for tuning in. In the last episode, we talked about the fast track to serious money with online coaching, and I laid out the most surefire and proven path for you to not only start getting clients, but the safest and smoothest route to making serious money, the kind of money that's life-changing, the kind of money that impacts those closest to you, the kind of money that allows for you to create the online business and the lifestyle that you've been envisioning and imagining. So be sure to head back one episode to understand what the fast track is so that you can be sure to get on it and live that leverage coach lifestyle. We're building off of yesterday's episode, and today I want to talk about when is the right time to go full-time in your online coaching business. Before we hop in, side note, yesterday, Wednesdays, we do our Get Clients calls every single week, 10 a.m. So shout out to my Get Clients students. And over the last month or two, we've been talking a little bit about mindset. And I sometimes can be resistant to talking about mindset because I think that can be an easy way. And I think that there are some people in the industry that take advantage of mindset because self-development is an endless thing. And so it's easy to get people recurring and always on a treadmill of self-development and self-improvement and never getting people to where they want in life. And I don't want to be that kind of person. However, mindset is absolutely critical. And anyone telling you that mindset isn't important is blatantly lying to you. And to get where that person has been, which is hopefully somewhere that you want to be in your business in the terms of the type of lifestyle, the type of relationships, and the type of health, right, that they have in their life. Like they're hopefully having those things and you're wanting to model them. And if they're telling you the mindset isn't important, well, they are omitting the fact that they got themselves to a place where they felt worthy, where they felt ready, and they felt in that internal power enough to actually take the right steps and to change success and failures in a way to get to where they wanted. And so mindset is critically important. So I've been fighting through this resistance and finding my own way to share what has helped me with our Get Client students, because we have a set of students who've absolutely crushed it with my mindsets and my strategies. And we have another set of students where it's not going nearly as fast as any of us anticipated. And I'm sharing this because this is probably, if not already, the likelihood and reality of your online business. Some people crush it right out the gate and some don't. And so I've spent months trying to figure out what differentiates those two, looking at myself, looking at these students, looking at other people in my life and my colleagues, and trying to figure it all out. And so we opened yesterday's call with just a heart-to-heart moment in that there is no strategy, method, software, post, ad that I can hand you on a silver platter that will build your online business long enough for you to be successful until you have the right mindset. There is nothing on God's beautiful green earth that is going to get you to where you want to be in life and keeping you there in your online business if your mind and in your heart aren't in the right place or aren't aligned. And so we spent the entire duration of the call unpacking what thoughts are keeping us in a low feeling, in a low state of emotion, so that we can eradicate those and replace them with thoughts that are far more productive and that are far more powerful. And so I say that because my heart tells me that this training, this hour that we spent in this coaching call will become a pillar and become the catalyst for many of the students in the Get Clients program. And what we were able to identify by unpacking the thoughts and feelings of frustration, fear, resentment, these sorts of things, anger even, these are the things that keep us back. And so we have to look at those and use those as our signal, because they are productive for one thing and one thing only. These very survival instincts, these very human instincts, but these very negative emotions and feelings, they serve one purpose and one purpose only. And that is to allow for you to identify when you're having the wrong thought, so that you then can replace it with a thought that gets you at least 1 inch closer to where you want to be. It would be insane for me to take someone from anger and fear all the way to absolute abundance and joy and bliss. But if we can just get you from fear to hopefulness, from anger to curiosity, from resentment to hopefulness, then we can start to do the work of taking you to that next level. And that doesn't need to take all year. I don't think that needs to take all month, but we have to start inching you in the right direction. So whether you decide to ever work with me or not and to join us in the Get Clients program, and if we ever have the chance to work together, if you are feeling the emotions of frustration, fear, anger, resentment, even jealousy, and these sorts of things, then this is your signal, this is your sign to identify those thoughts and feelings and to replace them with thoughts that lead you to different feelings, so that you can take different actions and get different results and be validated upwards to spiral versus downwards. And I know that downward spiral better than anybody else, but I also know that upward spiral better than anybody else. So for you listening right now, if you're experiencing any of that gamut of emotions that is keeping you in a negative state, that's your signal to replace those with thoughts and feelings that are going to be far more helpful, conductive, and powerful to get you to where you actually want to be. And my challenge to you is to unpack those feelings and to start to find things that help you feel better, and to replace those thoughts with things that are actually going to get you closer to where you want to be. That is the end of that rant. Something that I wanted to share with you guys because I felt like it might be helpful for the one or two of you guys listening to this show. Let's now talk about going full-time in your online business. If you don't get this right, there are really two things that happen at the end of the day. The first thing that happens is that you have to result back to, or you have to stay in your 9 to 5. And while having a job and something to pay your bills is an absolute blessing, it's frustrating because you decided to become an online coach, yes, to go and impact the world and to change the lives of many, but you also did it to impact your own world and to change your own life. You cannot save someone else until you save yourself. This is why in the airplane they say put your own oxygen mask on before you help women and children, right? Before you help others. And so you have to save yourself before you can save anybody else. And if you constantly get put back in the state of lack, in the state of needing money and lacking money, you are not going to get far out of your day job. And I dare say that you're probably going to have to stay in it. And that's frustrating because you know you're capable of so much more. The second thing that happens is that you have to admit failure to the world. Stay with me here. That's frustrating and that's scary because you might feel like you're taking a gamble when it comes to your online business. And you are, and it is a risk. And anything worthy in this life is an absolute risk. But instead of taking a safe bet, it starts to feel like everyone is wanting for you to fail. And every time I do unpack these things, usually people are just looking at their own failures and projecting them on you. And far less people are actually thinking about you or me than we actually think. And they're just really stuck in their own lives. And so now let's talk about what needs to happen and what doesn't need to happen in order for you to get to being full-time in your online business. Well, let's talk about the times when not to go full-time in your online business. Let's start there, and then let's talk about 2 ideas I have for you for actually going full-time. The time that you're gonna wanna most often jump off and go full-time in your online business is when you're frustrated with your day job and you're frustrated with your boss or some sort of circumstance. You're frustrated with your money or something like that. And that is the absolute worst time to take the jump into your online business. And that is because if you leave your job too soon, you risk getting back into the state of lack and not having money. And when you start to broadcast those emotions and those feelings, now you're going to be in a place where you're attracting more of those circumstances and more of those scenarios that validate that. And it is really hard to fake all of that when you don't have the evidence or the proof that you actually have the right income and you have the war chest of money to be able to stay full-time in your online coaching business. So if you're frustrated with your job, that's something you need to handle aside from the conversation of going full-time in your online business. And that is not the time to jump ships, because if you can't handle the circumstances going on in your day job, I can tell you it's going to be a lot harder in your online coaching business when you have clients and prospects who ghost you, who don't get back to you, who miss a payment, who don't show up to a call, who ask for a refund. And all of these things, you're going to feel like they are not in your control. But I dare say that your energy and your emotions will dictate the scenarios and circumstances that you have unfold in front of you. And if you're in a state of lack, you're only going to be attracting things that you do not want to be dealing with in your online business or at all in your life. So you have to find a way to neutralize your emotions in your job, find gratitude and grace in the blessing that you have with your job. Because if you want, and you're in a state of wanting to be a full-time coach, well, what you're broadcasting is that you don't have that. And you will continue to attract those circumstances and frustrations in your day job, and you'll never be able to leave it. The next time when to not leave your day job is when your ego is telling you to take the jump, but you don't have the results. You don't have that stack of proof to actually show for it. And what you only have is a mentor who's maybe in their sales pages and their sales copy trying to advocate for the possibilities and all of those things. And I'm not saying that no one out there has made the jump too soon and was successful and didn't leave behind a whole entire mess in their in their in their pathway behind them, because there probably are examples of that. But for the average person, for the everyday person, for the 99%, you have responsibilities and you have certain circumstances that you just have to take care of. And I want for you that when you go full-time in your online coaching business, that you're able to stay there and this becomes your permanent reality and only gets better. And the worst thing is to take 2 steps forward and then have to take 5 back. And now you've just completely delayed your ability to be full-time as an online coach, and you've now delayed being able to live that leverage coach lifestyle where you're in charge of your time, where you're impacting the lives of many, where things are going your way, where it's kayaks under the moonlight and unicorns and rainbows and great green pastures. And so you have to do things in the right order at the right time for enough time to make this really your permanent circumstance and to not get shifted back into a state of lack or needing to do weird things and side hustles that are just distractions in order to go and make the money. Now let's talk about when to actually go full-time in your online business. And I want to start by sharing an analogy that one of my coaches shared with me years ago. You may know him. His name is Neil Strauss. He wrote a book that he was famous for called The Game and many other books after that. He had, at the time, not sure if he still does, he had a great coaching program called The Society. This is actually the first time where I found Joe Polish. And if you've listened to these last 80-ish episodes, you've heard about some of the impact that Joe Polish and Dean Jackson have had on my life and my online business. And my first exposure to him, before I even knew he lived in Arizona and before I was able to speak at his I Love Marketing conference and all those sorts of things, well, I saw him on a video that Neil posted because all I could afford at the time was a $100 or $200 coaching program to keep myself going and to keep myself in the game. And so one of the many analogies and stories that Neil shared and he's talked about in many places is the 2-train theory. And it's the idea that you can look at your day job, your main source of income, as the train that you're on right now. And imagine yourself on top of the train. And so that train is already chugging. It has steam behind it. It has energy behind it. It's already going at full speed. And we all know trains don't go as full speed as our modern day cars, but it's going as full speed as a train can go. And if you've ever understood or looked at locomotives, well, once they get going, they're going, but it takes a lot of energy and coal to get them started and to get from 0 to 1 to 10 miles an hour to 20 to, what they max out, 35, maybe 45 miles an hour. I'm not a train expert necessarily, just in theory. And so you can look at a second train, maybe on the tracks next to you, as your coaching business. It is going to probably take more time than what you would hope or anticipate to grow your online business. And that's just me being raw and real for the 99% of you. And so you're on a train that's already moving full speed with your main source of income and with your day job, which again is a blessing. Let's not knock those things. I'm not here to say that day jobs suck and that you're worse as a person if you're an employee or any of those things, because having a source of income that provides for you and maybe provides for your family, if you're in that circumstance, that's a major blessing. And if you can't find blessings in that, it's going to be really hard for you to succeed as an online coach, let me tell you. So what you need to be doing in moonlighting, right, in your lunch breaks and in the early morning, waking up at 3 or 4 in the morning if you're wanting this to happen, and maybe working from 5 to 9 afterwards as you get really serious about this, that's like you getting the coal loaded up in the second train and it's starting to choo-choo and it's starting to leave the station. But no matter what, your main source of income is still moving far, far beyond where your second train is, your online coaching business. But over time, with enough steam, enough energy, doing and chaining the right actions, doing the right things in the right order for the right time for enough time, when that starts to happen and you start to chain success together by following the advice of a mentor and a proven plan and getting yourself around a group of other coaches who are already doing these same things, solving these same problems, working through these same puzzles, well, that train with enough of the right energy, staying in the right state and emotion, it can quickly, perceivably, all of a sudden catch up to your main source of income. And so I want for you to think of this two-train analogy for, is your coaching business going at the same speed minimum as your 9 to 5? Because when that happens and your online coaching business catches up to it, because it doesn't take nearly as much effort in time to be landing 1, 2, or 3 clients a month, and then you're very swiftly replacing your full source of income. And that's like the second train catching up, and now it's going the same speed as that first train, your main source of income. You can put one foot over on the second train, now you're straddling, and as your coaching business train starts to go faster, now you can take the other foot off that main source of income and just leave that one in the dusk. So the first thing I want you thinking about is the two-train theory. You need for that second train to be minimum going as fast or making as much money as your main source of income in order to even be considering jumping board completely onto your second train. And this is really just about doing things in the safest way. Many of you are not in my circumstance, right? I don't have family and kids that are relying on me. I can take large gambles in my life still at the age of 33 and recover from it. If you are not in those circumstances, and maybe you have kids, and maybe you have a significant other, maybe you have responsibilities and bills and debt, loans, whatever your life circumstances are, you have to do things smart, and you cannot act out of emotion when it comes to making these big decisions. Second, let's say that the train theory maybe doesn't apply to you in some way. Let's say that you really want Jeremy to lay it to you raw and real and give you a milestone to hit. Well, that milestone is getting to 15K a month in your online business, USD, and you should always be charging in USD. I don't care where you're at in the world. You want to be hitting that for 3 months in a row. And when you hit your third month at 15K, now you've probably experienced the ability to have a lifestyle change, although I would implore you to keep your expenses low and to double down and to reinvest these funds into the right parts of your business. Maybe it is a VA, maybe it is outsourcing small things, maybe it is making small, tiny investments to make running your business easier. But I would then challenge you to double down and turn that 15K into 30K for 3 months in a row before you start making any major life changes or any of those things, because now you have the proof, now you have a stack of evidence and results to show for it, and now you're making a far wiser bet on yourself and not a gamble, and you will put yourself in a far better position to stay in the state of abundance and to not attract negative scenarios in your business. And there will inevitably be speed bumps, but now you have a little bit of a war chest where if you hit 15K, maybe you go on a 12, and maybe you go back up to 17, you go back to 10, and trust me, that will be a roller coaster, even though I'm sure many of you are praying for that sort of money. There are different problems that come with these different circumstances. It isn't all perfect. And so more money, more problems. I would say more money, better problems. And I would even replace the word with problems with puzzles, because it's my belief, at least here in America, Canada, the majority of Mexico, Europe, we don't have problems, we have puzzles. Like, we get to do things, and we have problems are, where's your water coming from? Problem is, where's your next meal coming from? Problems are, where am I going to sleep tonight? Problems are being addicted to a substance. Problems are everyone just abandoned you and left you. Problems are you don't have mom and dad. Problems are you just got diagnosed with, or someone you love got diagnosed with something terrible. Those are problems. We as entrepreneurs and as those who are constantly improving ourselves, and those here in first world countries or like first world countries, we have puzzles that we get to solve. And so sometimes that mindset shift can help to alleviate if you are looking at more money and getting scared of it as more money, more problems. No, I would say more money, more puzzles, different puzzles, bigger puzzles that if you find a way to find joy in, can be truly fun and can be the chain that leads you to the next stage in your life, that gets you to higher levels. One of my remote mentors, Vince Del Monte, always says, new levels, new devils. That is the case. You're going to experience different problems at each of the levels, but these are more like puzzles that you get to navigate, that you get the privilege and opportunity to navigate, because this online coaching business and being full-time in it is truly a privilege. It is a blessing, but I can promise you, if you cannot find a blessing and if you cannot find the privileges in whatever situation or circumstance you're in right now, it will be really hard or near impossible. You're going to be working against the physics of the universe to get to a better state. So one of the things that came out of this that I think will relate to this from earlier when I talked about our Get Clients call with some of our students, don't want to go full-time. Don't be in a state of wanting. You have to right now find a way to feel like you already have it. And if you can right now bring the feelings of the future and be already in gratitude for what's in the future and bring that and bottle that here into this current moment, now you're working with the physics of the universe. Now your heart and your mind are in alignment, and now you can attract the scenarios, the conversations, the mentors, the circumstances, even when you don't know how it's going to happen, and the things that you need just kind of start to appear in front of you, much like driving at night when you have the headlights on. You might not be able to see 300 yards out in front of you, but you can probably see the next 10 to 30, and you're trusting that there's going to be road after the current 30 yards that you're looking at when it's pitch black in the middle of the night and your headlights are on. Well, when you're trusting the road is going to be there. And that's a lot like how being in abundance and being in a state of joy and being in a state of hopefulness and being in a state of not in lack kind of feels like, is that you're hoping the road's going to be there. You have faith the road's going to be there. And when you have that faith and you carry that certainty, the road just starts to kind of appear. And then when you find the right mentor and you hire the right coach and you get around others, that's like turning on your high beams. And now you can see much more of the road in front of you, and they can share with you what's coming down the pipeline so that you don't have to worry about it. And they can help you to manage your emotions, manage your feelings, put the right strategies and mindsets and frameworks in place to guarantee that you get to the end of the destination, instead of needing to turn around and head back to where you started at the day job, and then having to get started on that slow train back headed towards the direction that you are wanting. In the next episode of Client by Client, we're talking about client red flags, when to not take on a coaching client. So be sure to come back to tomorrow's episode so you can understand all of the red flags to avoid and to know when to not take on a coaching client. Whenever you are ready, here are 3 ways I can help you grow your online business. First, download your free copy of GetBookedCRM. Coaches, are you still managing your leads and pipeline from Instagram DM, Facebook Messenger, in your email inbox, where you're losing leads in the cracks and you're leaving money and clients on the table every single month? That's why I created GetBookedCRM. What started out as a free way for me to manage my pipeline and take prospects from suspects to clients has quickly become the favorite tool of my private clients and of the members of the Leverage Coach community. Get leads and turn them into clients in half the time. And right now, it's 100% free. All you have to do is find me on Instagram or wherever you're consuming the show and drop me the letters CRM. Second, join my free group for online coaches. I've got almost 1,000 coaches from all over the world dying to have you in their presence. I share weekly resources and other things I find across the web that help me grow my online business. Get around them, get access to me. All you have to do is find me on Facebook or Instagram and send me the word group. Third, become my next success story. I'm getting a couple coaches together this month to implement my methods and frameworks for injecting a minimum of 15K worth of new clients into your online business, or doubling your online client roster base over the next 30, 60, 90 days. but finding the right people is super important to me. So this is only for you if you are a relationship-focused coach who always puts the person ahead of the money. You've been coaching for at least 6 months to a year. You'd like to get 3 to 5 clients organically from social media every month without wasting money or time on paid ads. You have at least 300 friends on a social platform, email list, or group. You are willing to take bold action because you know that your success depends upon it. And last but most importantly, you can keep a secret. If that's you, I want you to grab your phone right now, tap that Instagram app icon, find me at WhatUpJeremy, and send me the words case study. When you do that, I'll ask you a couple questions about your vision for your online business and what the next 12 months looks like for you. And then I'll share with you what we have coming up this month in the Get Clients program, how we're already helping students from all over the world, and some of the results that you can anticipate. We'll also identify what part of the program will likely have the biggest impact in your online business. That way you know what to expect. All you have to do for all the information and details is find me on Instagram and send me the words case study. That's it for this episode of Client by Client. Thank you so much for tuning in. Cheers. All right, gang, hope that was helpful. It's Thursday. That means tomorrow it's follow-up Friday. Time to follow through on your word. Time to close up all loose ends, tidy up your workspace. And that means also time to follow up and close some deals. There is still time in the week. Go sell something. You'll feel better for it. That's it for this episode. See you guys back again tomorrow. Cheers.